Hello, 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 everyone. This is your girl, Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, host of Conversations from the C-Suite, the Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. You know the drill. We're going to get started promptly in about 2 minutes. But until that time, we want to invoke the power of three because this is a conversation and we don't want to be talking to ourselves. So make sure that you invite at least 3 people. Share this out to at least 3 groups or pages because we're talking about money moves, baby, and we need to have people in the house. So make sure you get your favorite beverage. I got iced tea tonight, but make sure you get your favorite beverage and let's get ready to have a great conversation. So while you are doing that, I'm going to share it out myself and we are going to have a great conversation in the C-suite. So remember, invoke the power of 3. Invite at least 3 people. All right. Well, you know what time it is. It is time to get these conversations started. I am Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, your host, CEO of C-Suite Women's Network, where I help women and a few good men to be the CEOs of their lives so they can be better CEOs in your business. And I want to welcome you to Conversations from the C-Suite, the Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. And, we want to help you to develop strategies that help you to be at the head of your table because every woman deserves to be in the C-suite of her life. She needs to have not only a seat at the table, but be able to make room for others. And Conversations from the C-suite is a power-packed hour of great conversations that provide women with a platform to share their businesses and their career experiences. We want to elevate your mindset so that we compel you to take action because CEOs don't just sit around and wait on things to happen. They make great things happen. And the C-suite is where the decisions are made. And that's the power that you have to make the decisions that will enable you to create the life you desire and deserve. So your C-suite is where you are at the head of your table because a CEO, just like the word says, Chief Executive Officer, gets things done, decides upon the strategy, works with the team to bring that strategy to fruition, inspires them to take things to an even higher level, and at the end of the day, gets things done. Now, you may be a CEO in certain stages of your life. You may be a CEO on the rise. You are just getting started on your journey to the C-suite. You may be a CEO on the move. You've been headed towards that C-suite. You may even have gotten your foot in the door, but you want more. And speaking of more, even if you are a CEO, remember there is always a greater level that you can take it to because champions don't stop training when they get to the top. They keep going and going so they can be even greater. So here in the C-suite, here in the C-suite, we are having conversations that are just more than talk. We want to equip you to make those CEO moves. We want you to create your circle of influence, to elevate, educate, and empower yourself so that you can elevate yourself. And then the only way that you're able to do that is to operationalize what you learn. So don't just learn something, feel something, and do something. So I am so excited that we are going to have another great talk about making those money moves. Because you know, Puff Daddy may be Brother Love now, but it's still all about the Benjamins, baby. Your journey to the C-suite will go straight to the mailroom if you can't get that financial statement in the black. In order to truly create the life you desire and deserve, you've got to have the ability to write the check and not just sign the back, because you want to write your name on the front of the check, meaning you are making the decisions, you are creating the funds, you are not just waiting on that check to be handed to you. You're able to generate the cash, the power, the financial freedom that you desire. So we've got another great conversation with none other than Umama Marzouk. I done gave a whole new name. Umama Marzouk, my girl, who is a financial wizard and one who is equipped to help you to get your Benjamins all in a row. So this is part 2 of the series where we're going to be talking about helping you to write that check. We want you to cash it, multiply it, and grow it. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring to the virtual stage here my girl, Umama Marzouk. Hey, Umama, how are you?
Hey, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing today?
Oh, you know, it's always a great day when we can have conversations in the C-suite. It is always a great day to make CEO moves. And you know how it goes. We want to do the who, the what, and the why. So why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and why you make those CEO moves?
Absolutely. So my name's Umama, and I've been doing finance now. Next week will actually be 7 years that I will hit doing financial planning. And what got me into this is there was something that was missing. I was working with real estate investors, helping them with their goals, helping them with their business, with their marketing, but not really talking to enough women and not talking to enough minorities and not really talking the reasons why they're making all these moves. A client of mine out in California told me about becoming a financial advisor. I thought that word was nonsense because I was like, I know nothing about finance. My background is in psychology and women's studies with a minor in marketing and communication. So finance wasn't in my vocabulary at all. But I learned about it and studied it and realized that was the best decision ever. Been able to help a lot of small businesses get to where they need to be. And now I'm here. I get to talk to different kinds of people, talk on different stages, and really help people with their financial goals, not just individuals and families, but business owners, and helping them get to that next step of their life of what they're trying to accomplish. So that's the who, what, where, why.
Yes. And one of the things that I hope you picked up on, because, you know, if you joined us on the first part, because this is part 2 of a 2-part series, you learned that Umama is a marathon run. She's literally traveled all around the world, an adventurer. But one of the things I hope you picked up on is when someone saw in her a opportunity and a talent and a skill, instead of her saying, no, I don't know, I don't know anything about finances, or I don't, you know, instead of her just staying in a box, she said, you know what, I do know, and I can learn, and I can do it. And that's something that is really important as a CEO, to recognize that, you know, you don't have to have all of the expertise to get to become an expert. I mean, experts have to start somewhere. And what is it? I was listening to, I think it was Tony Robbins this morning or earlier today. And I was listening to a couple of different things. So I might be thinking about the wrong one. But anyway, they were talking about how, you know, you don't have to have everything to get started, but you got to get started to get everything that you want. So, you know, I just want to just congratulate you, Umama, for, you know, recognizing the CEO in you and recognizing that, you know, this was a skill set that you had, and all you had to do was to develop it. So I always love to hear about women in particular, because we tend to talk ourselves out of challenges and talk ourselves out of getting to the next level because we think I'm not good enough. I don't have that skill set yet. And the yet is what we always leave out. So congratulations for taking that step, and thank you for being a part of the conversation and helping women and minorities to make those money moves. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead, because I was going to ask you a question, but go on.
Oh, well, I was going to say that, so entrepreneurship, I mean, I looked at my parents and stuff, and my mom was always, she's an excellent example of a great housewife, right? Mm-hmm. And my dad is a great example of the entrepreneur. But if you look back in history and you look back at time, so my background, I am Muslim, and in Islam, the first entrepreneur female, she was Sayyidina Khadija. And so Sayyidina Khadija, she taught the Prophet Muhammad like on entrepreneurship and on business. Mm-hmm. So women empowerment in business, like it stems back to, I guess, my background. But yeah, it's always been something you want to be able to follow that dream. And I mean, we live in America, which is phenomenal. So you want to be able to establish your own American dream. And not just have a dream that someone else puts in for you, but what are you making out of this country and what are you doing to make sure that you leave a legacy behind?
Right. And that is a great segue what I wanted to talk about tonight. And that is getting started, because a lot of times we think, well, I don't have all the money yet. How am I going to become rich? You've got to start somewhere. And so one of the things that I wanted you to kind of help us to really begin thinking about is, when we're ready to move from the mailroom to the C-suite, when we're ready to write our names on the front of the check and not just on the back, how do we get started? What are some things that we need to be thinking about as we're getting our finances together and being practical about starting, other than unless, we get an inheritance or win the lotto or, a big pile of money falls into our lap, we've got to start little by little. So if we want to get started, how do you get started? What do you do?
Absolutely. So once you've come up with the concept and once your business is actually legit, you've sat down with an attorney to register your business. It is important to register your business. Mm-hmm. The next step that you want to do is you actually want to sit down with an accountant and find out what makes sense for your business. Should you set it up as an LLC, a C Corp, or an S Corp? All different kinds of registration for your business is different for tax implications. So you want to see what's the best option for you in your business. That's a conversation to have with your accountant. The next step of action is, so when you're getting started in business, right, you're going to be investing in yourself. You're going to be, you're going to be investing in the business first. Your first few years, you're investing in the business, but you want to be able to make sure that you're paying yourself first. So picture yourself in a house, right? And the bottom of the house, so this relies to not just your personal finance, but your business finances as well too. So the bottom of the house is the foundation. The foundation is the protection aspect of things. So that's all your different insurances, your liability, your disability, your property and casualty, your health insurance, your life insurance, making sure that that protection is there for the foundation. God forbid something was to happen to you or your business, the foundation is there. And then also an emergency fund. So you're setting money aside. Yes, you're putting money into the business, but if something was to happen, you want to make sure that that money is set aside for that business as well too. Let's just say that your business makes $100,000 its first year, right? We're just going to throw an even number. So $100,000 your first year, you want to make sure that you have at least 10% of that set aside. So $10,000 set aside, God forbid something was to happen to the business that you want to fix it. So once that foundation is established for your business, and it's a matter of really systematically paying yourself. Of course, your first few years, you are everything in the business, right?
Mhm.
You are whatever hat you want to wear that day,
Yeah.
you're wearing it.
Whatever hat is
Um,
sitting there on the table, you got to put it on.
exactly. So your first year in the business, you're paying it. But then you need to transition into the sense and asking yourself the value of your business and the value of yourself. Does it make sense to hire out someone and pay someone a portion of the proceeds that you're making, and then that way you can focus on what you're good at? Or are you going to continue just slaving away and doing everything in the business? Because if you're doing everything in the business, you're really not focusing on growing the business, and it's only going to stay at a certain level.
Right.
So if it's staying at a certain level and you want to up your game so you can be able to live the life that you want to live, then it's a matter of delegating your business. So when you're getting started, you want to make sure you're setting money aside for yourself, money aside for an emergency, and then money aside for the insurances, the protections, making sure that's all established. So that's the foundation of your house.
Yes.
Then we get to the next level. We want to see what the foundation can hold, right? So let's talk about the basement. Basement isn't the foundation. The basement is that cash reserve. That cash reserve allows you to set money aside for certain projects. Let's just go for, give me an industry. Give me an industry that you're thinking of right now.
Well, coaching
Uh,
industry.
the cooking industry?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, coaching. Yeah.
Okay.
First head popped to mind.
Okay. So with the cooking industry, right? You want to be able to buy the right pots and pans and fry laters
Yeah.
and all the right things for your business. So when you're cooking, you're making the right stuff. So that's the cash reserves that you're buying the equipment, you're buying the tools. So once you have your foundation, you have the basement. Well, we need this house, this business to grow. That's when you're talking about the different investments. And depending on what kind of business that you've set your business up, and there we'll get into it later on, but depending on the kind of business that you want, you can either set yourself up with that your business is paying you and you have proceeds from the business as well too. So a 401k, you can set it up so your business set matches the 401k, or a 403b, or you could set up an IRA for yourself or a Roth. So you want the different kinds of investments for your business. So now that the business it's got the columns, right? It's got the different columns that's holding up the house. With those columns, well, you still need that second level for the house, right? Because you're in business to do what? What's the end result of your business?
To sell it or to,
Right.
yeah.
Sell it, yep.
Or
To sell it, to buy it out,
scale
to
it so that you're not working in it, it's working for you.
exactly. And we'll touch into how the different ways that your business can grow for you in a little bit. But you want to have that second level of the house. So it's really the retirement. What's your exit strategy for your business? And it's really a matter of what kind of retirement do you want to live? What are you setting up? And that's when you make sure that business is established. After that, so if you're thinking college funding, you could put that in there as well too. But then when you're looking at the roof, what's the roof of the business? The estate plan. So your business also needs an estate plan, not just for your personal life, for your business life as well too. So once you have your financial house set up in place, you want to make sure that your money is being divvied up in the different categories. Because if you're only focusing on the retirement aspect of things, or you're only focusing on the investment aspect of your business, your house is going to fall apart. Your business and your personal finance, because your business life is funding your personal life.
Right. And you hit a really important point, and that is, planning kind of with the end in mind. We because I think a lot of times we think linearly, but we think of it one step at a time rather than thinking about it as, you've got to get to this point. Because I know for a lot of entrepreneurs, they are in the startup phase. They're like, oh my gosh, I can hardly pay my bills, or I'm just trying to keep it all together. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to meet these needs or whatever. What do you mean thinking about retirement? Retirement, I just got started. I barely gotten started. But, it's all about thinking about where it is that you want to go. One of the things that, I do with my clients, because is helping them with launching their business, is really getting them to think about, what is the lifestyle you want? Where is it that you want to go? And what are the things that you need to be doing like right now in order to be able to do that? And I always, it's called do you have your passport exercise? Exercise with my clients.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, I want to travel around the world. I want to be an international this. I want to do all these things. And then you ask the question, do you have your passport? No, they don't have their passport. So you can't go anywhere internationally if you don't have your passport. So we've got to get in the mindset of being ready so that we don't have to get ready. And you talk so much, focus on, this whole aspect of thinking about building your business as a house, and you've got to have all these layers. But, nobody builds a house and leaves the roof off, not on purpose, so that's why as you're building it, you've got to be thinking about, well, retirement is the roof. And even though it's a starter home, and even though, I don't have it fully furnished yet, I still have all the major components, and I'm thinking that way. Because one of the things, last episode, we talked about wealth mindsets and how important it is to have a wealth mindset and to really think about how you think about money. Because, that's one of the reasons that, I focus on being the CEO of your life, because if you think of yourself as a CEO, you're thinking about, the business aspect of it, the planning aspect of it, the strategy aspect of it. And, we've got to start thinking about our money and building our mindsets around, where we're positioning ourselves to grow. Because, if you don't think about your business as growing, you're going to make decisions right now that are going to stunt your growth, and you never will go. So,
exactly.
That's such an important point that you've made about, thinking about this again from a strategic perspective.
Exactly. And everything, it goes down to the foundation. When you're establishing a business, when you're learning something new, everything comes down to the foundation. So anyone who's in business, the first thing that I tell my clients to do is that you want to make sure that you have all the right insurances in place. And now no one wants to talk about insurance, right? Because why do you want to talk about insurance? But here's an example of actually a client. They called me. So this client was referred to me, and they called me and they're like, hey, I kind of need some disability insurance. Now, whenever someone asks for disability insurance, you already know that the accident has already occurred.
Yeah.
At least in my world. So I asked them, I said, well, what had happened? And they said, oh, they own a flooring company, and they were moving some plywood or whatever it is. And I guess they ended up moving to the wrong way, and they ended up pulling a back muscle, ended up getting surgery, and they're out of commission for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
So this business owner, they're making their income on themselves, right? They have 2 other employees, and then their wife has jumped onto the business in the last year, but the wife doesn't really run the business. The husband does. So when I was asking him, for example, what's his exit strategy, and he's like, well, I guess I should talk about like if my wife wants to buy me out or whatever it is. And it's so important to evaluate your business and evaluate what's going on. So the reason why it's important to evaluate your business is because, God forbid, there's an injury. Do you guys actually know what the main 2 injuries are in the world, the United States?
What's that?
So there's 2. The main one is mental health, and the second is your health.
Yeah.
So if you're out of commission working, that means there's no money coming in.
Right.
That means no one's going to be writing those checks. And you're waiting to get paid on an injury when you could be generating money. So every 6 months to a year, you should be evaluating how much your business is. There are people out there that go and give evaluations for a business. They can run the numbers for you. A business that you established 5 years ago is not the same value as it is today.
Right.
Yesterday, actually, we were with a family friend, and God bless her, she's in her 80s, and she was telling us that when she first started working, minimum wage was $1, which blew my mind.
No,
And
she
she
don't
was
say
saying
that.
that teachers, I was like, what? And she was saying teachers made $3,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So put yourself in the mindset, right? We already know that there's a few things that we have no control over: taxes, inflations, life events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things happen.
Right.
But ask yourself this: if you're a business owner, if you just had the bare minimum that you needed for your business and everything else was just extra, the revenue, what are you going to do with that extra revenue?
Mm-hmm.
How are you actually going to make your business grow more?
Yeah.
Um, Stephanie sent me this earlier and it just hit home. So I'm going to read it out how it ties all into this. So the different streams of income: there's earned income, right, which is income working from a job.
Mm-hmm.
There's profit income, which is income from buying and selling. There's interest income, income from lending money.
Mm-hmm.
Residual income, when you continue to get paid after the work is done. Dividend income, income from owning stocks. Rental income, income from renting a house. Capital gains, assets increasing in value. And royalty income, income from others using your idea. So if you take those concepts and you apply it into your business, and if you don't have the right protection for your business before you're going out and doing it, so many of these different ways of earning income you're going to be missing out on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't do the work, how are you going to be writing the checks?
Right. Right.
So it's a matter of asking yourself, how can I get myself out of the business so the business continues to run and I don't have to be there?
Yes. Yes. And and that's why it's so important to think about this, from a strategy perspective, in that, if you don't ask yourself these questions, then you end up finding yourself in a position where it's forced upon you, and now you are in a defensive mode as opposed to an
Yes.
offensive mode. And
Yes.
that's why, day one, you need to be thinking about, scaling your business and positioning yourself today for growing, later on, and thinking about, how can you work less in your business and have your business work more for you? Because, I'm in a
Yes.
service industry. I'm a coach, right? So even though I've created digital products and I have, things that I can, that my clients can invest in that don't require me personally, most of what
Yes.
I do involves me because I'm giving the advice. But when I first started my business, I didn't have any digital products. The only way you could work with me was to work with me. So that means the only way
Right.
to touch another client was to invest my literal time. But it's
Right.
all about, because I've got this master plan, in terms of how I grow and build, how I add different people to my team in different ways. But I had to get into the mindset. I had to learn this. It wasn't, even though I worked in corporate America and understood the concept of the literal C-suite and departments and things like that. When I started running my own business, it's like all that stuff went out the door for whatever reason initially.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's what we got to think about, is to really think about ourselves as CEOs. So CEOs don't do everything in the company. They set the strategy, they set the direction, but they work with a team to actually
Correct.
to build that out. And so, that's something that you've got to think about, is, how do you get there and not be fixed or fixated on the idea that everything that you do in your business has to be done by you. Because if you
Right.
find yourself in a situation where you're injured, like your client was, well, if you're the only person that's doing something, then you're not going to, your business is going to stop when you do.
Right. Right. And it's a matter of asking yourself, like, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? And what can I delegate out? So the more that you can delegate and you're focusing on doing what's good for your business and
Mm-hmm.
growing your practice,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're doing, the better for yourself. So, Stephanie, let's take you for example. Right, you're in the service industry, but
Mm-hmm.
you've learned to have other streams of income from your business.
Mm-hmm.
But God forbid something was to happen to you, your voice was gone. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the great thing is that you still have your fingers and then you can still communicate with people.
Right.
But at some point, you need to talk to people,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because you're a coach.
Yes.
So coaches, right? And I have a handful of clients that are coaches. I always tell them, like, make sure that your voice is always like, just like musicians and singers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're drinking their lemon water, they're practicing their throat, they're making sure that everything is just, because that's your biggest asset
That's
that you
right.
have right now for your clients.
That's
So
right.
if your voice is gone, it's like, oh, okay. So it's a matter of knowing if your business can it function without you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's take Tony Robbins, for example. Everybody knows Tony Robbins, right? And Tony Robbins is a magnificent, phenomenal speaker out there, and he goes out there and he performs. But what he's learned to do is, because he's been in the business now for what, over 30 years or something like
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
he's learned to bring on other coaches as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point, Tony Robbins is going to retire.
Right.
Newsflash for everybody. We're all going to retire at some point.
Yes.
You're either going to retire by choice, retire by death,
Yeah.
retire by disability, or retire by being bought out.
Yes. Yeah.
So, or just dissolving as a business. So ask yourself, how do you want to retire? And if you're not preparing those things early on in the
Mm-hmm.
foundation with your business, then what's going to happen is you're going to continue writing the back of the checks and not writing the front of the checks.
Right.
So how do you have that? What do you need to do? You need to make sure that you're setting money aside from the get-go and
Mm-hmm.
into a fund that you don't touch. And
Yes.
that's the money that is going to allow your business to grow.
Yes. All right, we're going to put a pin in that for just a moment because it's time to bring the sponsors moment. So I just want to let you know that this episode was brought to you by C-Suite Women's Network, where you can find professional and personal leadership development, strategic planning, and organizational and performance excellence strategies. At C-Suite Women's Network, you can develop excellence through the training, coaching, and accountability support that helps you to map out your dreams so that you're not just dreaming and you're actually doing. The mission of C-Suite Women's Network is to equip women to be the CEOs of their lives, to use their education, experience, and influence to create the lives they desire and deserve. So be the CEO of your life so you can be better CEOs in your business. Get equipped to get the results you desire in your business. You can go to www.discovertheceoinyou.com. That's www.discovertheceoinyou.com to schedule your strategy session today. So we were talking about developing, recognizing the inevitable and planning for it, because there are a lot of things that in your business. And like you say, everybody is going to retire. And the question for you as the CEO is, are you going to retire by choice? Or are you going to retire when something happens? And you really don't want to retire by death, because then you really not going to enjoy it. So, but you've got to begin planning for those things now. So, one of the important parts of developing a strategy or getting a strategy, we talked about mindset last episode. You got to have the right mindset for your wealth and really thinking about your business as a business and thinking about it growing. But it doesn't do you any good to think about it if you don't do it. And so your habits are really important in helping you to effectuate a strategy. So, Mama, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, as a CEO of a small business that is going to grow into a larger business, going to scale, going to be in a position to where the business is working for them and you're not working completely in the business. What are some of the habits that a CEO on the rise? Remember that at the beginning of the episode, I talked about how, you're at these different levels, a CEO on the rise, where you're just getting started or thinking about getting started, but you're just on your way. You've got the CEO on the move. You've made some traction. You've gotten some things done, and you're getting ready to grow. And then you've got the CEO who's established. What are some essential habits from a financial perspective that CEOs need to be thinking about so that they can have the habits that support the mindset that will actually help them to execute their strategies? Uh-oh.
This one is catered to women and minorities specifically, which is register your company as either a woman owned business or a minority owned business.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is that there's so many grants out there, literally like well, the percentage is small. The percentage is only 5% of grants. However, the amount of money that's available, so there's 5% of grant money that's available to women and minorities, which is a small percentage. However, there's so much money out there that they're waiting for women and minorities to register, and then that way they can get some assistance. So one, I would definitely register your company. The second is meet with an accountant to find out what is the best way to register your business. Is it going to be an LLC? Is it going to be a C corp? Is it going to be a S corp? The reason why that's important is because how you and your business is being taxed is going to be completely different.
Right.
2018, the tax codes have changed. There's a lot of great information that I could give to business owners that we don't have time to dive too much in deep into this session, but you can definitely contact me individually and I could talk to you about it. But you want to make sure that you're registering your company in the right way. The second thing is that when you're establishing, when you're establishing the funds of where it's being allocated, you want to make sure it's going into 3 different categories. I'm going to give you the categories right now. 1 second. You want to make sure that your income's going into a taxable, tax deferred, and tax free different streams of income. So there's 3 different tax triangles, and those are the tax triangles. I'm not going to get into specifics of what goes into there, but you want to make sure that you're going in there. If your company, if you decide that you want to set up a 401k, allow yourself to match onto that 401k, or you can do it separate and you can have yourself an IRA for the tax benefits. And then also you want to be setting aside money for an emergency fund or money set aside for the cash reserves. So a lot of times what I often see more often than not is a lot of businesses will get into so much debt because they either take out a loan or their credit cards, because they're buying so much to invest in the business first, but they're not really investing in yourself. So if you're going to take out a loan, make sure that you're doing the right shopping around for it. Go to credit unions. Credit unions tend to have better rates than a regular bank. Establish a relationship. If you decide to go in partnership with somebody, do your research on that partnership. Because more often than not, people tend to get screwed over by a partner because it wasn't the right partner. So you want to make sure what their goals are and what you're aligned in to make sure that finances are intact. And then also for your business on the financial aspect of things is that you don't necessarily need to buy the newest and brand new equipment for your business. There's a lot of times that, I mean, businesses are turnover all the time, which is a good thing. So let's just say you own a hair salon. If you own a hair salon and Sally's hair salons just went out of business. Well, you can go
All the
purchase their stuff at a cheaper stuff. You know, um, just you can recycle the stuff. You don't need, like I said, you don't need to get the brand newest stuff until your business has already been established. Your first few years in business, and well, we're in the internet age, right? We're in the digital age, so your business really should be online. You should be having multiple ways of how your business is being generated. Word of mouth is always king, referrals. However, you want to make sure that the publicity is out there. So have your clients write good reviews on you. And every 6 months, evaluate your business to see, is it being waged out with your competitor. So if you're charging $100 for a fee, but your for a service, but your competitor, for example, is charging 135, you're cutting yourself short by $35.
right.
And more often than not, I find women. What is it?
So you don't want to be a bottom feeder where you just kind of
Exactly.
I'll because I think this is what you were kind of getting ready to get into. Is that a lot of times, particularly women, business owners will not demand the prices that actually reflect their value. They'll think, well, I need to wait before I can charge this, or I'm not this person or that person or whatever, but you need to charge the value of your services, because what you don't want to have happen is, your peers are bringing in the income that matches, is commensurate with their value, but you're struggling, even though you're working harder or just as hard. You really want to get into the mindset to not be afraid to ask for what you're worth and the value that you're giving to your clients.
And it's a matter, you're going to be putting in the grind. You're going to be putting the hours. But make sure you're also taking time to make sure that your mental health is on tact as well too. But your first few years, you're going to be putting in the time. So I mean, Stephanie, when I came over to see you, I mean, you were busting your butt still working. Like it was late night, and I was like, let's go out, and you're like, I got to do a coaching session with a client. So it's like I'm trying to get this girl out to go explore Atlanta, and she's out there coaching. So it's like you're gonna be putting in those hours, but it's really, you want to develop that strategy of how are you working those hours. Because you could be working in your business, but not on your business.
Because you bring up a great point, and we've just spent an entire, I think 7 episodes literally focusing on mental health. But because it is such a critical aspect of being a great CEO, because you've got to preserve your most valuable and irreplaceable asset, your mind, your literal mind. Yeah. But, one of the things that I was thinking about, I haven't gotten there yet, but, when I have a goal about how much I want to work in my business. And, the goal is, at some point to generate the revenue to where I'm planning for vacations, because, and time off and self-care, because you have to put that in the plan just like you do everything else. I still am guilty of not doing enough of it. I put that out there, but, if you want to have, because, when you worked for a company, you had your 2 weeks vacation, 4 weeks vacation, whatever, and it was built into the company's compensation structure for how they accounted for the time that you would be away. And, even in the corporate setting, people don't take their PTO. Now, when I worked in corporate, I took all my PTO, my paid time off. I never left anything on the table.
Yeah.
But the point here is you got to develop the habits around your business that help it to be strong enough to where you can build in the time for self-care. You need to plan for that, just like you're planning for a new service or planning to work, so that, you're able to take care of yourself. And that's a financial decision, deciding on your lifestyle, how much you want to work per year, how many, times. Because what's the book? Was it it's over here? Oh yeah, the 4-Hour Work Week. Really thinking about automating your business, outsourcing things, but it all takes planning. Even with Tim Ferriss, And the 4-hour work week, he didn't just up one day and boom, I'm gonna work 4 hours. He planned for it. And when he saw
Right.
he was able to do it and put those things into place. And so it's all a part of planning for time off, just like you plan for, the revenue that you want to generate in your business. You got to put that into the equation so that you're not in a position where you need to take off, but you can't afford to.
Right. And it's so true. I mean, mental health is, I mean, I feel like almost everything I listen to now relates back to mental health because it's so important, because it makes no sense to have all this great financial wealth if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have your mental health.
Right.
So it brings me to the point that when you're in business for yourself, you have to create your own benefits.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one out there that's going to say, hey, right, you got these health benefits, you get 2 weeks of vacation, you're going to get this, this, and this. So you have to create your own benefits. And it's a matter of, I find a lot of times, especially when people get first into business, let's just say that they left a good cushiony job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that good cushiony job gave them benefits. And they're like, I want to replace my income my first year. I tell people, let's be realistic. That's not going to happen your first year,
Yeah.
right? You have to build up to it,
Mm-hmm.
because at least when you had a corporate job, they're giving you all this, but that corporate job has already established what needs to happen, and
Yeah.
they have that revenue that they can pay you.
Right.
But your business, if your business isn't generating any revenue, your first year you're not going to be walking away making six figures. I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, you can.
Yeah.
There's certain companies that will allow you to do that. It depends on the industry that you're doing, but you
Mm-hmm.
want to be realistic with what you're actually paying yourself. So you might get a pay cut, and you need to ask yourself, when you're starting that business, if you're going to get that pay cut, obviously that's going to affect your life and lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that pay cut then, because now you have to pay for your own benefits. So those own benefits, how are you going to tie that into the things that you need to establish what you need?
Yeah.
Um, and it takes time. It definitely takes time.
Right. Right. And it takes time and it takes planning. And it also, I believe, takes flexibility because, one
Yes.
of the things, if I hadn't learned anything in the past 4 years, is that things do not always work out as you plan, but they always work out as they should.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, you know, many times we get fixated on the plan and we miss out on the opportunity. And the thing is, you have to be responsive to whatever is happening around you, because you can miss out on a great opportunity because the opportunity doesn't look like what you had pictured in your mind was the way that you're going to make your revenue. So when
Yep.
opportunities come up, because going back to the beginning of the show when you talked about you were advising real estate clients in one
Mm-hmm.
area, and then an opportunity arose, and rather than saying, well, no, this is what I do, I'm gonna stick with this is the plan, you were flexible enough to accept that opportunity. And so that's something that when you really want to think about a CEO, they're always watching the market, and
Mm.
companies have to be responsive to the market. Or anytime you're selling anything, you're responsive to the market. So what that means is, you've got to be flexible enough to be able to adjust in a way, and not just adjust, meaning you take what's given to you, but you're proactive and you're seeing the trends and you're studying your industry, which brings me to another point in terms of your finances. You've got to build in the time for professional development or industry development or business development, because you really want to think like a company. I mean, a big company, they've got an R&D department, a research and development department that's looking at the next thing. Then they've got the department that's bringing out what's on the market right now. Then they've got a department that is innovating and creating new things. And so you've got to think about that too. Now you're a smaller version of that, but that doesn't mean you can't partner with others to be able to do that. And it's all about being in that mindset again of really thinking about this in a holistic way, that, you know, you're not just working on these different segments, but you see your business, you see where you want to go, and you're being responsive to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it all the different compartments, it's again, you're the CEO, you're designing these different compartments, you're designing these different benefits, you're designing the different aspects of how your business is going to be. So when you get into business, it's important to ask yourself who's on your board. Now, a lot of people, they want to support a business, but it's like, or they want to establish a business, but they don't have a board. And you really need that board, because that board is going to be your sound that allows you to, let's just say you're like, you know what? I saw a really good property down the road, and I feel like we should invest in this property because I know we'll get more business. And let's just say two of your board member goes, that property has a history of water damage. It's a great location, but it has a history of water damage. If you, let's just say that you didn't listen and you bought that property, you're like, great, I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to put my name on there and we're going to put Umama Marzouk on there, right? And it's my company now. 2 months down the road, water damage starts to happen. And now you're paying money to make this water damage get fixed. Let's fast forward 6 months down the road. This water damage is getting really bad, and also it's about to snow. So now the building that you thought you just fixed 2 months ago is in ruins. Fast forward not even 8 months down the road when you first bought that building, and the water department comes to you and says, sorry, ma'am, this business, this building that you just got bought, it's not in compliance with our rules and regulations. You can't have the building there. So if you didn't have a board that allows you to check you, your board isn't there to go against you, but they're there to check you, to make sure that you're not just going in with emotions, because a lot of times when we're going to do something, we're doing it with emotions. So that board is that sound to say, that's not going to be a good investment. We should look at the property that's maybe like 2 blocks down the road. The location isn't the greatest, but I know that there's going to be traction over there. So you want to make sure that you have a board that's going to tell you the yays or the nays. Also with your business, regarding the financial aspect of things, understand that if you're going to have some sacrifices your first year, well, can you negotiate with somebody? Can you go back to the bargaining days? Hey, can you do my hair if I'll send you referrals, or you know what, I'll write you a good review on Yelp. Or let's just say that you need a new suit and you're like, maybe you gained some weight or you lost some weight and you're just like, oh, the suit's not necessarily fitting, right? Maybe you could talk to one of your friends and ask them to borrow your suit. That way you can look presentable for your event until you're able to get the proceeds to make it. So negotiate. Everything comes down to negotiating. Just because you're in business doesn't mean that you need to be dishing out all this money your first few years of business.
Right. And of course, you know, we're getting close to the end of the hour, but this is such a powerful piece to close out on, and that is truly understanding that if you want to make money, you don't do it by yourself. You know, you've got to have your team, you've got to have your board, you got to be willing to ask help. And I'll just kind of lay myself out here. You know, I am like the ultimate superwoman. I believe I can do it all by myself. And one of the
you
things,
are superwoman.
yeah, I am. I got the S on my chest. But you know, but one of the biggest things that I've committed to doing is not only asking for help, but letting others help me, and just making and not think of it as getting help, but building these alliances. And because you talked about negotiating and bartering and just being creative about how you get the things you want, you know, because I'm working on this really capital intensive project. I've got a new book coming out, and it's capital intensive. And So, my money is a little funny as I get, get this project off, and you're going to have those ebbs and those lows, but I needed some coaching around something, because again, I'm thinking beyond where I am right now. And so now is not a good time to invest yet more capital into the level of coaching that I need, but I need the coaching. And it's going to cost me to not have the coaching. So what did I do? I came up with a solution where I'm going to give business advice, because the coach that I'm working with needs business advice. What do? I help people to develop business strategies. I need the expertise they have. So we're trading services. So I'm investing in them, they're investing in me, and it's a win-win situation. And I think that's something that we've got to be creative about and be willing to understand how we can collaborate, how we can create these alliances, and not doing it all by ourselves. And the last thing I just want to say is this, and how important it is, because I speak from experience, that how important it is to surround yourself with wealthy people, because I think it's Les Brown that says, if you have five if you've got 9 broke friends, guess who's gonna be the 10th? You, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important, and it's not for the point of socializing with rich people, but understanding their habits and the things that they're doing and the things that they're not. So sometimes it's physically being around other wealthy people, but also tapping into people who have achieved a level of success that you want, and listening to them and learning. You can do it through books. You can do it through, because I'm listening to this series. I bought it a year ago, and and it has made such a difference in my life. In the last 2 weeks, I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this a year ago when I bought the thing? But
right.
It's so important.
You got to be ready. You got to be ready for it.
Right. And I
one
happen when they should happen.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One place that I will highly recommend to all people that are just getting started, it's a free service. It's called Score. Every single city has it. So I don't remember what it stands for, but Score, it's retired business people that they're literally just volunteering, that they can help you write your business plan. They can help you connect you with the right people. So if you need like a business attorney, or if you need an accountant, or if you need a financial advisor, whoever it is, they can connect you. So find your local Score, and they can connect you with the right services to make sure that your business is worded right, first of all, but make sure that it's also headed in the right direction, a direction for success and not a direction for failure.
Yes. Well, I just want to recap a couple of things, and you can chime in too, to make sure, because in the conversations from the C-suite, we want to make sure that you feel something, learn something, do something. So we want to recap, because Umama has dropped the bomb in terms of just all these wealth nuggets. She talked about, getting started, making sure that you have that foundation. Think about building your business like a house. Nobody builds a house and leaves off the roof. The roof for your business is your exit strategy, your retirement. So even though it's a brand new business, you've got to build the roof. And the more you build, the more you begin building right and developing these habits, it's easier to develop new habits than it is to break bad habits. So start off right.
Correct.
She also talked about those different streams of income. Be thinking about, how do you eventually get your business to work for you, and not just you working in your business. She talked about the importance of your board, making sure you have your board, your advisors, the people who can be your sounding board, the people who you can learn from, and the people who are going to help you grow. Were there some other nuggets that you want to drop, or just kind of recap?
I'm gonna say the 8 streams of income again, and then I'm gonna say the different tax strategy again. So the 8 streams of income is earned income, profit income, interest income, residual income, dividend income, rental income, capital gains, and royalty income. So ask yourself, how do you want your business to be generating money? Because your business can actually generate all 8 of those things, but it's really about planning, as Stephanie keeps stressing. Planning is such a key word. And you need to constantly be planning. And then how you're diversifying your money. And this is really when you sit down with a financial advisor so you can see where your money's going. So 3 best friends, well, really 4 best friends that you should have regarding your business is a business attorney, an accountant, a financial advisor, and a business coach. Those should really be your best friends to help you with your business. So you want incomes that are tax-free, that are generating when you take that money out tax-free. You want income that's generating to you that's going to be taxable. And you want income that's tax deferred. So when you're sitting down with your accountant and when you're sitting down with your financial advisor, having those conversations to see what is the best suit for your business to make sure that you're generating all those for your business. Yes. And then last but not least, go check out SCORE, because they'll be able to help you tremendously with your business and how to get your business just the wording right. And then, like I said, those 4 people that should be your best friends can help you with everything else.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. It is always great to hang out with you. We always have such a great time. And every time we get together, I mean, we have these life-changing conversations. Usually it's over libations. Oh, she ain't been joining me on the libations lately. She's got a different strategy. That's okay. But it's always great though to be able to have a conversation. You learn from it and you grow from it. So I just want you to give you an opportunity to tell everybody where they can stay in contact with you if they want to learn more about how to make those money moves. So I'll let you share your contact information with the audience.
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn. I can send you the message to put my LinkedIn information out there, right?
Yes.
And then
her name is on it, Umama Y. Marzouk. That's why I made sure I spelled it out this time.
So Umama Y. Marzouk. And then also my cell phone number is 774-269-7327. I put my phone number out there last week when we did this, and I only received 1 phone call. So we want to know how serious people really are about their finances and what you're looking to do. But let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Take it from there.
All right, awesome. I put it on the screen: 774-269-7327. All right, so y'all make sure you give her a call. She didn't put a whole cell phone number out there, but thank you so much. We appreciate you. I'm so glad to have had you on the show, and just always love to connect with you. And just thank you for the money moves and the CEO moves that you are making. So thank you so much. Everybody, let's give her a virtual round of applause for being our CEO of the hour on Conversations from the C-Suite. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it has been great being here in the C-Suite with you tonight. And the C-Suite, of course, is where women make the moves to create the lives they desire and deserve. And we want you to always feel something, learn something, but most of all, do something. Because whether you are the CEO of your company or the CEO or report to a CEO, you are always the CEO of your life. So make sure that you capitalize on these strategies, capitalize on your most powerful asset, which is your ability to create the life you desire and deserve. So until next time, I just want to thank you so much for joining Conversations from the C-Suite. I am Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, your host, CEO of C-Suite Women's Network. And remember, the power is not in the conversation, but in your CEO moves. Make sure you create those circles of influence, educate and empower yourself so that you can be elevated, and operationalize what you've learned so you can optimize your outcomes. Don't just talk about it, be about it, but don't wait. Remember, weight broke the scale. Now is the best time to do what you know that you need to do. And I just want to close out with saying, remember, your life is the power. Your life is the product of your choices. Choose to be the CEO of your life. I'm Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, and I'll see you next time in the C-Suite. Conversations from the C-Suite, Girlfriend's Guide to Being the CEO. See you next time.